Oh, you didn't?
No.
So we are live. So hello, Kat. Welcome again.
Nice to, well, I'd say see you, but I can't see anyone, so, hi.
I just thought before we start the class today that I should have asked you a little bit about Slovenia. Like, where is it? So, if in case people don't know.
Well, I think the easiest way of explaining it is we're neighbors to Italy. So on the east side
Yep.
of Italy, between Italy and Croatia, and there's Austria on top, so we're kind of in the middle of it all. We have probably this much of the seaside. It's really tiny, tiny,
Uh-huh.
but it's something, right? Yeah, and there's only like 2 million of us, and we have our own language, which is pretty cool for such a small country.
Yes.
Um, yeah, used to be a part of Yugoslavia. Um, yeah, and that's it.
Cool.
Pretty much. That's a quick review, and we have a lot of nature. I think we're one of the countries with uh, the most amount of acres or whatever forests, something
Yes.
like that. One of the greenest countries in the world, which is pretty awesome.
Beautiful.
Um,
Pity we can't see outside your window. There anything to see?
Ish, you could see the grass across the street, but yeah, it's not an amazing view or anything. It's cool, but yeah, it's not the mountains or anything. And one other good thing is that I live in Ljubljana, which is in the middle of the country, and it's about an hour and a half drive to the seaside, an hour actually drive to the mountains, so we can go skiing. Yeah, so there's a little bit of everything, and like nothing's really far away because we're so tiny. But
Ah,
yeah,
that's awesome. Well, thank you for sharing that. I I'm going to pin you now to the top, and you can talk a little bit about your class, and I'm going to flow along with you.
thank you, Leanne.
Thank you.
Let me just do this as well. Okay.
I better mute
Um,
myself.
okay. Bye.
Bye.
Uh, so, welcome to today's class, everyone. Uh, I wanted to send over a playlist, but then decided against it. And one of the reasons being that they say that where attention goes, energy flows. So today we'd like to stay here in this class on this mat, even though that might be a bit challenging at times. Not because the class is going to be super hard or anything, but because we tend to get bored when there's silence, when we're challenged to stay with ourselves, when we're challenged to stay in maybe poses that are not our favorite, or so that's my invitation to you to try and stay here. I know it might be hard, but yeah, it's a practice, just like everything else, just like all the poses. And you're welcome here with all your possible injuries, everything that's going on with you. So if you do have an injury, or maybe if you're pregnant or anything, please take care of yourself. Um, I imagine you already know how to modify, but I'll give a few options in different poses. And just respect your bodies. They do a lot for us, and the least we can do is take proper care of them and make sure they continue being healthy, or they continue to heal, or whatever might be happening with us. So, yeah, let's take care of ourselves mentally and physically, as well as each other. So, we're gonna start the class with some movement, and then at the end of it, we're gonna have kind of like a longer shavasana, so yoga nidra, but no, not a but an end. If you do have like a bolster close by, or pillows or anything like that, just bring all of that over. I know it's probably pretty warm where you are, but if you tend to get a bit chilly when you're laying down, especially I think it's the afternoon where you are, So maybe get a blanket as well. You might use it as a pillow or to cover yourself. So just basically gather everything that you can to make yourself really cozy at the end. Um, yeah, and then let's start. So let's meet on our mats. And we're gonna start laying down on our backs. So come laying down on your back. Bring your feet around mat width apart and then let your knees drop in. And either let your hands, your arms rest by your side, palms facing upwards, or you can bring one hand to your heart and the other one to your belly. And from here, just let your gaze be soft and let your eyelids get heavy until, if it's comfortable, close your eyes. We're gonna just take a few moments in the beginning of this practice to see where we're at today. See what we're bringing to this mat. And to transition from the rest or the previous or the rest of today or whatever was happening before class. So we're not rushing from one thing to the other, but we pause in the middle. So we have the time to make that switch. I'm laying here, just noticing the ground beneath you, the mat beneath you, all those parts of your body that are in contact with the floor, being supported. And as you lay here, you might notice some sounds around you, either on your end or on my end. Maybe rather than seeing those as a distraction, which they sometimes most definitely can be, maybe seeing them as an extra level of challenge. Can you still stay present? No matter the internal dialogue that might start happening in certain poses, no matter the random sounds that might want to take you away from this exact moment here and now. And as you lay here, you bring your awareness to your feet, to your toes. And then start walking that awareness up towards your shins, your thighs, and just checking with different parts of your body, seeing how they feel. How are your joints, your muscles, your bones feeling today? Is there maybe any discomfort present? Are certain parts feeling better than usual? Continue with this body scan, walking your awareness up towards the crown of your head eventually. Taking your time, but also not being overwhelmed with one particular feeling in a certain place. noticing it, and then continuing with the scan. And when you reach the crown of your head eventually, when you have a general idea of how your physical body is feeling today, what's happening with you emotionally? Is there a certain feeling or emotion that might be present here today? And whatever it might be, is it possible to not label this feeling or these feelings as either positive or negative? Is there a way to simply notice them and welcome them to this practice, no matter what they might be, and letting them co-create today's practice with you? Then move your awareness to your breath. If you have your hands on your belly and your chest, without changing anything first, simply notice the rise and the fall of the belly, of the chest following, of the inhales and exhales coming and going. And then slightly lengthen your inhales and exhales. Not so much that it feels straining, but just a little bit, so that your breath comes into the forefront of your experience. So inhaling into your chest, letting the belly follow, and exhale from your belly and letting the chest fall as well. Just continue a few breaths like this. And for class, can you keep this breath a little bit longer than usual? And let it be kind of like feedback to whether you're going maybe slightly too far in a pose, if you're doing a little bit too much. So if you ever notice that your breath is just not there, you can't notice it anymore, it's pretty shallow and quick, maybe that's a little nudge to take it a bit easier. And from here, bring your arms beside you. If they're not there yet, bring your feet a tiny bit closer so they're hip width apart. Palms facing down. And on your next inhale, press your feet into the floor. Start lifting up your pelvis towards the sky. And start bringing your arms overhead so they come to the floor behind you. And as you exhale, start bringing your hips back down, arms by your side. And continue this movement. You can keep your eyes closed and just trying to coordinate the breath with the movement. And if this feels weird in your knees, maybe bring your feet a tiny bit further away from your hips than they are now. And just keep your hands soft. Arms soft. And you don't have to go far or high with your hips on the inhale. Don't worry about that. Few more breaths like this. One last dynamic round. And next time you bring your hips down to the floor, keep your hands where they are, but on the inhale, lift your hips up high. Well, not high, but off the floor. So press your hands into the floor. Make sure you press your feet into the floor. Lift your pubic bone. And it's like you're trying to bring your pelvis and your lower ribs a tiny bit closer together, so your belly's working here as well, just to protect your spine. And you can either press your hands into the floor or bring your shoulders underneath you and interlace your fingers and press your fist into the floor. We're gonna stay here for a few breaths, and can you find some stillness once you find your position? We're gonna work on our tapas just a little bit, on our resilience. And just know it's not gonna, this pose is not gonna last for through the whole class. Just a few breaths. We can do it. We can do it. Keeping your breath steady. Even when your thighs, maybe your bum start to complain. Just a few more breaths. And then release your hands. Move your shoulders from underneath your upper back. And bring your hips down onto the floor. And before doing anything, can you just stay here for a few breaths? Just feeling that maybe release of energy, whatever it might be. Just feeling whatever you're feeling without trying to react. And then bring your knees into your chest. Stretch your arms out wide, palms facing up. From here, inhale. And as you exhale, start bringing your legs over to the right, but not all the way to the floor. Keeping your left shoulder on the floor. And as you inhale, bring your knees back into center. Exhale over to the left. Look right, maybe if that's okay for your neck. Inhaling back to the center. This time, as you exhale, bring your knees all the way over to the right side. Bring them over to the floor, but they might not be touching the floor, that's perfectly fine. And they also don't have to be really high up. Your feet don't have to be one on top of the other, don't worry about that. Just keep your left shoulder on the floor and find something, a position where you do feel the stretch on your left side, but it's not too straining. Gaze towards the left if that's okay for you. Imagine every inhale being like a little hi, good morning, good afternoon to your left side of the ribs, the waist. And on your next inhale, bring your knees back to center. Give yourself a cycle of breath here. One more inhale, and then on your next exhale, bring your knees over to the left this time. Gaze over to the right. If this is a bit too much, you can always bring your feet a tiny bit closer to the midline of your mat. Gaze over to the right. Maybe you're starting to sense Notice the difference between one side and the other. Can you invite this asymmetry? Can you welcome it to today's practice as well, rather than being frustrated by it, which quite often happens to me? And on your next inhale, bring your knees back in. And from here, you can hold on to your legs underneath your knees and rock upwards and backwards. If that feels okay in your spine, if it doesn't, feel free to lay on one side and come into a seated position where we're all gonna meet, however you're coming there. So find a seated position. You don't have to sit cross-legged. You can sit in easy pose, Sukhasana, or you can bring your feet on the floor. What we're trying to find is this movement from our hips. So I'm trying not to round my spine too much, but to find this coming from the hips. If that means feet on the floor or cross-legged, perfect. And when you're here, find the length in your spine, growing tall for the crown of your head. So you find the connection between your ribs and the pelvis again, without trying too much. And as you do that, inhale your arms up wide, look up. And as you exhale, still keeping that connection between the ribs and the pelvis, lift your heart up high, open up your arms into cactus arms, and then fold forward. Bring your arms by your side, by your ears. Inhale, bring your hands towards your heart and up towards the sky. Exhaling, opening up the heart, cactus, the arms, fold forward. So you're going to continue with that movement a few more times. Inhale, up, open. Exhale, open slightly more and then fold. And here you can close your eyes and continue with this movement. And it can be smaller or bigger, just make it your own. What do you need here? Does your neck want to cooperate? Do you want to do a proper forward fold? What do you need? You might need stillness. That's perfectly fine as well. Not perfectly fine, that's perfect. Just do whatever you feel you need here. And it's always easier to feel what we're actually feeling rather than doing what we think we should when we close our eyes and simply notice our own practice, our own needs, rather than what's happening around us, what other people in our class are doing. One more inhale like this. And as you exhale, start bringing your right hand down toward the floor. Inhale, left arm up towards the sky, and from here, like you're trying to create this as big movement as you can over to the right side, opening up the heart here. And it's like this left side, left armpit is trying to run away towards the sky, opening up the heart. Doesn't matter how low I go. It matters how much space I create in my spine, in my vertebrae, I think. One more breath here. And inhale, come back to center. Exhale over to the right. This right arm keeps traveling up towards the sky and then over to the left this time. Opening up. As you stay here, can you find a space where you can create a little bit more space? That might be in your shoulders, around your ears, bring your shoulder down. Might be in your spine, you can stretch up a little bit more, whatever it is. And inhale, come back to center. Then bring your hands onto the floor in front of you and come over into tabletop. You can bring one knee on top of the other and come over into tabletop. From here, bring your hands underneath your shoulders, knees underneath your hips, tops of the feet into the floor, press down. And imagine like you're trying to press your hips back and crown the head forward. And once again, we find that connection between the ribs and the pelvis. And keeping that, inhaling, opening up the chest, maybe arching the spine just a little bit. And as you exhale around the spine, send your belly to your spine, head heavy, cat pose. Inhale, open up the heart, into cow. And as you exhale around the spine in cat pose. One more round like this. Inhale, open up the heart, look forward. And as you exhale around the spine, this time your hips travel back towards your heels so you end up in child's pose. From here, keep your elbows in, tops of the feet pressing into the floor. Inhale into cow. And as you exhale around the spine, send your hips back into child's pose. So we're going to do this movement a few more times, connecting these 3 movements, cat, cow, and child's pose. And once again, can you close your eyes and see what you need here? Some of us will come all the way to the floor in this transition to cow pose. Some of us we'll have our elbows pretty much straight when we come forward. And some might stay in child's pose. Either way, it's your practice, so make it really your own. Let yourself be the guide of this practice, not just me. One more round, inhaling. And exhale, rounding the spine. Next inhale I do, come through tabletop. And bring my hips all the way down. So I'm coming to a cobra. Tops of my feet are pressing into the floor. Elbows in, hands underneath my shoulders. And exhale all the way down. Bring your forehead to the floor. Inhale, press your feet into the floor. Pubic bone down. Inhale into cobra. Baby cobra, no need to go high. Exhale, move your hips back into child's pose. 2 more like that. Inhale through tabletop. Down to baby cobra. Hold for a sec before exhale. Down. Inhale, open the heart, baby cobra. Exhale, back, child's pose. One last round. Inhale through. Down to cobra. Exhale all the way down to the ground. Inhale, cobra. Exhaling back. And now lift your knees off the floor and come into your first down dog of today's practice. There won't be that many. And from here, let's find our own versions of down dog. Feet about hip width apart, hands a bit wider than your shoulders. And keep your heels high and knees bent for now. And what we'd like to do is press our hands into the floor like you're trying to press the floor away from you, sending the hips high and sending your chest towards your thighs. And as you do that, no need to straighten the knees or bring the heels down. That's all totally overrated. What we're trying to find is length in our spine. So once you find your down dog, can you find your breath again? One more inhale and exhale. And then on your next exhale, bend the knees even more, lift your heels up high, look forward. Step, walk, jump to the front of the mat, whatever is okay for you. You can walk your feet wider than your hands. Halfway lift, sending your hips back, round the head forward, finding that space in your spine again. Exhale, fold over your legs, bend the knees. And as you inhale, come up, all the way up to standing. And as you exhale, bring your hands to your heart. So we're standing in the front of the mat. And we're gonna keep our feet hip width apart, keeping our knees and our hips pretty soft and lengthening through the crown of our head. Let's bring our hands in front of our bellies, palms facing up. And we're going to do a variation of sun salutations that Leanne and Chloe and the rest of the Bliss team are definitely familiar with. And we'll see how it goes. So we're going to keep grounded through our feet, strong through our legs, but at the same time, soft through the upper body, especially through our hands and palms. So we're going to move like seaweed, as Ian Finn would say. So let's all close our eyes for a few moments here. And just finding our feet, finding our ground, the support. Feeling like the sky above us. And us, the connection in between. And as you inhale, let your hands float up so they kind of reach maybe your eyes. And as you exhale, exhale out through the open mouth, letting the hands go down again. Inhale, arms float up. Exhale up through the mouth, let something go. One more round like this. Inhale in through your nose. And out through your mouth. And we can continue this type of breath as we move on. Inhale, float your arms up, but this time over your head. Up towards the sky, maybe reach your heart forward. And as you exhale, fold over your legs, bend the knees, your arms go wide. We're not gonna touch the floor at all in this sequence. Inhale, halfway lift, touch the heart gently. And as you exhale, bring all your weight to your left leg, left foot. Start lifting this right foot off the floor and stepping it all the way back. Exhale, pressing your hands forward. Keeping your back heel high. Inhale, reach up, float your arms up high. And as you exhale, twist towards the left, keep your arms soft. Inhale, straightening the back foot, leg, pointing the foot outwards. Reach up through the crown of your head, up towards the sky, straightening the front knee. Exhale, fold over this front leg. Inhale, touch your heart again. And as you exhale, bring all your weight into your left leg. Start lifting your right one and coming to a standing splits position. Maybe lose your balance. That's perfectly fine. Inhale, bring your right foot to the front of the mat. Halfway lift, touch your heart. Exhale out through your mouth. Arms go wide. Inhale, come all the way up to standing. Float your arms up wide, high. And as you exhale, all the way down. Inhale, halfway lift, touch your heart. And as you exhale all your weight to the left foot, step your, right foot, step your left foot back. Exhale out. Inhale, float your arms up high, front knee still bent here. And as you exhale, twist towards the right this time. Left hand forward, right hand back. Inhale, straighten both knees, point your left foot outwards. Reach up through your heart. And as you exhale, go over the front leg. Inhale, touch your heart. And as you exhale, all your weight onto your right leg and splits. Inhale, bring your left foot to the front of the mat, halfway lift. And exhale it out. Inhale, come all the way up to standing. Reaching the heart forward. And exhale, hands to heart. We're gonna do that one more time now that we've got a hang of it. So inhale, reach your arms up high. And exhale out through the mouth, forward fold. Inhale, touch your heart, halfway lift. Exhale, right foot steps back, hands press forward. Inhale, reach up through your heart. Exhale, twist towards the left. Find a bit of that slowness. Inhale, straighten both legs. Reach up. Exhale, fold over the front leg. Inhale, touch your heart, halfway lift. And as you exhale, standing splits, arms go wide. Inhale, bring your right foot to the front, halfway lift. And exhale it out. Inhale, come up to standing. And as you exhale, fold over your legs, knees bent. Inhale, halfway lift. And as you exhale, step your left foot back, pressing your hands forward. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, twist it out. Inhale, straighten the legs, reach up. Exhale, let it go. Inhale, touching the heart. Exhale, folding over this front leg, standing splits. Inhale, the foot comes to the front, halfway lift. Exhale it out. Inhale, reach up. And this time, exhale it all the way out, all the way down to the floor. And then bring your hands behind your back, interlace your fingers. Inhale, halfway lift, straighten your elbows, lengthen the spine. And as you exhale, maybe walk your feet even further apart. Bend the knees and fold over your legs. You can walk your feet even further apart if that feels okay, if that's what you need. Create a bit of space for your chest, for your belly. And staying with your breath. I know it's not an easy or a simple pose when you stay here for a little bit. But just a few more breaths. And as you exhale, release your hands, bring them down to the floor. Inhale, halfway lift. And as you exhale, bring your hands down to the floor. Step back into down dog, or step down into down dog, or do your vinyasa, but we're gonna meet in down dog. Still the morning here, so I prefer to just skip that vinyasa, but whatever feels right for you right now. And we meet in down dog. And on your next inhale, lift your right leg up towards the sky. And here you can keep your left knee high, or you can bring your left knee to the floor. Wherever you are today, it's perfect. Find your variation. That's the important bit. And as you reach your right leg back, your right foot back, exhale and bend the right knee. Bring it into your chest. As high as you can. Round the spine here, press your hands into the floor and step this right foot to the outside of your right hand. This might be one step, it might be 7. Either way, it's great. And bring your right foot to the front of the mat. Bring your left hand down. And inhale, start twisting towards the right, reaching your right arm high. If this is a bit too far, if your breath kind of disappeared, you can come onto your tippy toes, or fingertips, sorry. Or you can even bring your left hand to your right knee and reach up with your right arm. A bit of more of a twist. One more breath here. And then bring your whole left hand to the floor. Walk this right foot to the back of the mat and bring your left foot off the mat. So your left foot is on the left side of the mat, your right foot walks back, and you have your left hand, your left knee, and your right foot all in one direction or all in one line. And you press the top of your foot into the floor, press your hips forward, open up for the heart, reach your right arm up. And here, imagine, even if your right foot is on the floor, that you're pressing something away from you. There's something touching the crown of your head and your right foot, and you're trying to press it away. And you can either stay here, this might be more than enough, or you can bring your right foot off the floor a little bit, and maybe even bend the right foot, bend the right knee, hold on to the right foot. If you do that, don't forget to press your hips forward, engage your belly, your bum, your thighs, everything. Open up your heart. And when you're here, your back is not feeling very happy, please straighten the right knee or bring the foot down to the floor. Opening up the heart wherever you are. If your foot's on the floor, if you're holding it, doesn't matter. One more breath. And as you exhale, bending this right knee, bringing it towards the front of the mat and gently stepping to the front one more time. Walk your right foot even further forward, bring your left foot back to the mat. Inhale here, send the right hip back, left hip forward. And then as you do that, on the exhale, maybe walk your hands a tiny bit further forward. Maybe your hands are on the floor, maybe you're on your fingertips. Maybe you bring your elbows to the floor. Whatever you do, make sure it's what your body needs today. And keep this right knee touching the side of your body, so it's glued to the side of your body. And can you stay here? Even when that internal dialogue starts, that internal dialogue of maybe not liking this pose, or maybe of it being boring or just lasting too long. Can you notice those spots and then come back to the breath and this physical experience of yours? The ground for your left knee, top of the foot, right foot, your hands. One more inhale here. And exhale. And on your next inhale, start walking your hands closer to you. And step this right leg back. And let's all come into a child's pose. Bring your forehead to the floor. Know that for these few moments, there's nothing to do. Just trying to feel it all, which might sound simple, but it's not always. Simply maybe noticing the difference between one side and the other. And then on your next inhale, coming back into tabletop. And exhale back into down dog. On your next inhale here, lift your left leg high. And one more time, you can bring your right knee to the floor, whatever feels right. Inhale. And exhale, bend this left knee, start bringing it into your chest. If you have your right knee high, you can bring your shoulders over your hands, rounding the spine, keeping this right heel high, and then step your left foot to the front of the mat. Bring your right knee down if it's not there yet. Find your option with the right hand, Inhale, reach up for your left arm. You can look to the left side or up towards the left hand, if that's okay for your neck. You can even look down towards the floor. Finding as much space as we can between one hand and the other. And as we exhale, start bringing this left hand down, walking this left foot back to the back of the mat, bringing your right foot off the mat. And then we step this left foot to the back of the mat. So your right hand this time, right knee and left foot are all in one line. Inhale, left arm reaches high. Finding my breath here first, sending my hips forward. And if you have your hips way in front of your knee, it's going to be way harder. So just bring your hips above your knee. It's going to make it a bit easier. And then find your option, either with the foot on the floor, the foot higher, or bending the knee. Inhale, opening up the heart wherever you are. Making sure you're taking your lower back into account. Keeping it healthy and happy. If there's some shaking present, like it is with me, simply welcome it. All of it is welcome here today. On your next exhale, reach your left hand up, left leg back. Exhale, bending the left knee, bring your left foot, hand to the floor, lefts and rights. Step your left foot to the front of the mat and bring your right foot back onto the mat. Inhale here. And as you exhale, start walking your hands forward, keeping your left knee close to you. And exhale, find your pose. Either on your hands, on your fingertips, or on your elbows. Inviting some space into your hips. And into our thoughts as well. Don't know about you, but my mind keeps skipping from one thing directly to the other and then the third, and just needs a little bit of a breather. You can offer that here. Provide that space, that presence. And then slowly start walking your hands back. And walking or stepping this left foot back to the mat and into child's pose. Marinating in this pause in between. Before bringing our hands underneath our shoulders and helping ourselves to come seated on our heels, and then move our legs to one side and bring your legs in front of you. Then straighten your legs. And keep your feet kind of strong, so not too strong so you would actually lift your heels, off the floor, but bring your toes towards you, towards your shins, and find a seated position here. So once again, we're going to try and find this movement from my hips. So maybe I start with my hands next to me, and maybe even with the knees slightly bent. Inhale here, we're going to go into Paschimottanasana, forward fold. And as you exhale, fold from the hips. So it's like you're trying to send your sit bones back and folding over. And you might want to help yourself with your hands. Or you can bring your hands onto your shins, your feet, your toes, whatever is okay. And once you find that very position, can you start straightening your legs, but still keeping this movement that's coming from the hips rather than coming from the spine. Opening up the heart, shoulders. Bring your chin tiny bit closer to your chest. Create space in the back of your neck. And here you can work with your breath. Just gently inhale, maybe come out of the pose slightly. And as you exhale, find your pose. Explore it, see what it has to offer today. Inhale, come out for those few, maybe centimeters. I don't know, do you use inches? And exhale, explore. And keep your eyes closed through the whole thing. And every time your mind wanders somewhere else, bring it back. Bring it back here, to this breath, to this moment, this time and space. On your next inhale, slowly come up to seated position. Take a breath here. And bring your arms in front of you, palms facing up, around the spine, and lower all the way down to the floor. Bring your knees into your chest. Once you reach the floor, give yourself another big hug. If you need it, maybe open up your knees and lift your feet up towards the sky. And you can either hold on to your either knees, the outsides of your feet, or your toes, big toes. And do a little movement here in this happy baby pose. Straightening one leg, the other, maybe both if that's what you need. Finding a little bit of release in your spine. And then when you're ready, find your Shavasana. And now's the time to use all of those props. The pillows, the blankets, whatever you might want to do. What I love to do personally is use a little pillow or a scarf underneath my head, just because it gets sensitive if we stay there for a long time, and if it's not that comfy. And then use a bolster underneath my knees. You can use a pillow as well, just roll it up, or two towels rolled up together. And this really nicely releases the lower back. It's just so much nicer to stay here. But experiment with props. Use something, add something, and then if you see if it's not better than it was before, remove it and start and try something else. So do whatever you need to make yourself really comfy. And welcome to your practice of Yoga Nidra. Welcome to this time and space to be exactly who you are. Invited with everything that you are, everything that you wish to be, and everything that you wish you weren't. All of it, all of you is welcome here and supported by this practice, by the earth beneath you, and by this community. So one of the biggest steps here, one of the most important ones, is to make yourself really comfortable. So do any big or little adjustments that you need to be as comfy as you can. And if that doesn't mean laying on your back, if that means laying on your side, on your belly, do that. It's just nice to find a position in which you can stay a longer period of time. It's almost like you're going for a nap, so you're trying to make yourself that comfy. And if a nap is what happens, that's perfect. It's the beauty of this practice is that everyone gets from it whatever they need, whatever we need. And if that is a quick nap, great. If that means you'll be completely present through every sentence of mine, that's great. If that means you're going to go on your own little journey, that's great as well. So just make yourself really comfortable. Maybe you bring your little scarf over your eyes, readjusting. And if you haven't yet, closing the eyes. And my voice is here to kind of like a guiding hand that you can either take, or you can take your own direction, your own path. Just know that wherever you might go, your physical body is still here. It's still safe in this space that you're in. You're still being supported and held. And you can always come back to it. And as you lay here, feeling the earth beneath you, the parts of the body that are in contact with the floor. Maybe noticing the sounds around you again. And know that you can see them as reassurance that the outside world is still happening, that the world is still turning, no matter what kind of journey you might be on. And resting here, bring your awareness to your breath without trying to change a thing. Simply notice the way of your breath, the rise and the fall, like the tide coming in and going out. And let every exhale be an invitation to release into the embrace of this earth. Knowing that it can carry whatever you need help carrying with. That it can accept whatever you can't carry anymore. Whatever you're ready to let go of. And as you exhale, your heels, your feet are invited into this embrace, are invited into gravity. And you're invited to let go. Can be as little or as big as you wish. As little or as big as you can today. And maybe you just need help carrying it all. And exhale invites your calves, your shins, your knees, your thighs into this embrace of the earth, into this support. And again, helping you carry or accepting what you no longer wish to accept. And letting this feeling of the embrace of the earth spread up higher into your hips, your pelvis, your belly, and your chest. And especially your heart, that might be ready to say goodbye to something, or might be ready to ask for a little bit of help carrying whatever it might be. And then letting this feeling spread down your shoulders, upper arms, elbows, lower arms, wrists, hands, palms, and your fingertips, as well as the back of your neck, back of your head, and your face. So your whole body resting in this embrace, being held, being supported, being accepted exactly as you are. Let it carry you. And with this feeling of support still present, still in your heart, bringing your awareness, the parts of your body that are in contact with the floor again, with the mat. Becoming aware of the sounds around you, maybe any smells around you. And letting your next slightly deeper inhale wake up your physical body with little movements. Starting with little movements of your fingertips, of your fingers, of your toes, of your ankles, your wrists. Maybe you're moving your head from side to side. Maybe stretching out if that's what you need, or yawning. Every time I say to yawn, I yawn myself. And then bringing your knees into your chest, giving yourself a big, big hug. We all deserve it, no matter the kind of day, week, month, especially year has been. We deserve it. And then roll onto one side and come to a seated position. And once you're there, once you're seated, just bring your hands in front of your heart, maybe bowing gently, closing the eyes. And bowing to this practice, to this community that you have created here, that you're a part of, and to everyone who came before us. And us remember that everything that we seek, we already are. That's one I see. Thank you for being here, for practicing with me. I hope everyone woke up from that nidra. If you haven't yet, you still have a little bit of time. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. Hope to see you again soon. Be in touch if you have any questions or anything. I'm here. We're in that Facebook group. Yeah, that's it. Um,
Namaste, Kat.
yeah, thank you, Leanne, so much for the invite. It was so lovely to be here. So thank you.
You are most welcome. I thoroughly enjoyed that practice. Thank you so much. You have a beautiful day. And yes,
Thank
as
you.
you said, you're in the group. So if when the girls come eventually do the practice with you, they usually comment in there. So yeah, you'll get to chat to them. It is
Well,
Friday afternoon, and as I said to Chloe, it's usually sundowner time. This time, there's a lot of my friends on the beach at the moment having their afternoon beer or wine. So,
yeah, I just wanted to say it's wine time for you now. So
all right, so much love, and look forward to seeing and having you be in the group again.
thank you so much, Leanne. Have a good one. And have a glass of wine for me as well. I have to wait a few more hours. It's not appropriate here yet. It's only 9 a.m. Have a good one. Bye.